All right, everybody, welcome back to the Zoop Podcast. My name is Jordan. I'm kind of hosting this thing. I'm also one of the founders of Zoop. Here with me today, though, is our producer of the Zoop Podcast, Chance. Say hi, Chance.
Hey, hello.
Hey, man. Thank you for doing this today. As always, we are streaming live at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and Facebook. If you want the audio version of this, we are always dropping it the next day on iTunes and Spotify. Just search for the Zoop Podcast there. Leave us some nice reviews. 5 stars are always appreciated. And when we do stream live, you can chime in with some questions, concerns, comments, whatever you want to say. And hopefully we can interact a little bit as well. Today's just the two of us. And really, I mean, we're just going to be talking about Comic Cons, conventions. You know, we're each in different parts of the country. I'm sure people who watch or listen to this are also in different parts of the country. As someone, I don't know, I'm like industry adjacent, I'd say. You know, I go to a lot of shows. So we're going to talk about maybe the experiences, the things that we like, local shows versus big shows, all that kind of stuff. So if you're watching, you want to chime in, feel free. Let's have a conversation. Otherwise, Chance and I are just going to kind of shoot the breeze here a little bit about what we like, and let's try to keep it positive, what we like about conventions.
Well, I'm sure that networking is definitely in the plus column, and that's something that you guys utilize quite a bit with conventions, right?
I, now, like as a fan, a convention is a totally different experience. But yeah, as doing what we're doing with Zoop, and even what I used to do with Comic Blitz before, it was all about the networking. It was all about hustling, taking meetings, saying hi to people, showing face, building up, our reputation. So that's kind of what it's become. And if I'm lucky as a fan, I still get to, sprinkle in a few like fanboy moments as well.
Sure, right.
What
Yeah.
about you?
You get to go to the big ones in San Diego, and because you're on the West Coast. Colorado's got a pretty good scene too, but I mean, yeah, I think that you're definitely
Why
in.
not? I know you guys have Denver. Denver's a big show.
Yeah,
Do you go to that one? Are you close enough for
yeah.
that?
So it used to be. I think it started in 2011. I went to that one, the first one, and it was just Denver Comic Con, and then now it's Fan Expo,
Right.
and it's great, yeah. And I also go to FanX in Salt Lake, and that was huge. But yeah, Denver's great. I think it's Denver's just got a really vibrant sort of diverse culture anyway, just like artistically. And I always kind of say, like, to me, Colorado's kind of becoming the new California.
Oh,
In a lot
interesting.
of ways, yeah, and especially having always been from here, that's always been kind of my observation, is watching it grow and evolve over the years throughout my life. So I like seeing it grow in that way. Absolutely.
How close are you, like Salt Lake versus Denver? Are you sort of in between, or?
Salt Lake's 12 hours west.
Oh my God, a
Wait, not
12
no,
hour drive,
no, wait. Las Vegas is 12 hours west. Salt Lake's about 6 hours west.
and you drive?
Yeah, last time we took the motorcycles, so it's a pretty good motorcycle
Whoa.
west. Yeah.
6 hour motorcycle ride from what?
Yeah,
Are you in Denver or like outside Denver?
in Denver. Yep. Yeah, so
Wow.
yeah, it was on the way there, it was great, but then on the way back, it's so unpredictable, that part of the country, especially in September. So we got, like, it was a pretty cold, wet, windy ride on the way back, but yeah, it's still
Oh
good time.
man,
A lot of fun with
you're a, you're a cool comic book nerd, Chance.
it. I don't know if anybody's ever called me that before. You might be.
It's a bit of an oxymoron, but here we are.
I think comic book fans are pretty cool, but yeah,
Oh, you,
it's kind of actually funny. My roommate is really good friend. He grew up with a guy named what's his name? Something Greco, and he's one of the founders of the original Denver Comic Con.
oh,
And
cool.
he when they kind of when he sold, I don't know what the arrangement was, but when he kind of left that partnership, he started another comic book convention annually. It was called DINK, Denver Independent something, but it's just that, is for independent artists, and it's a big thing. I mean, as far as like independent comic book shows go, it's a really big deal, and pretty good sized, and especially with this guy who originally started Denver Comic Con. And they haven't, ever since COVID, they haven't gotten it like jump started.
Yeah.
But hopefully sooner rather than later, it gets going again. But got to be right up your guys' alley, I think. So
Yeah, I mean, they have Small Press Expo. There used to be the Ape Show. I don't know, Alternative Press Expo. I don't know if they still do that one or not. I know Small Press is still around.
In California.
I believe that was San Francisco. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if it came back though, like after COVID. Um, but this weekend I'm going to Heroes Con in North Carolina. That's always like
Oh,
one of the big national ones. So I'm packing up tonight, leaving tomorrow.
oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, I mean the list of artists and creators that are on that show. Yeah, it's pretty fantastic every single
Yeah,
year. So
in
yeah,
North Carolina of all places too. That's pretty cool.
from what I've heard, I never met the guy who runs it, but apparently, I mean, like he's a huge fan, and he loves bringing in these big names and like having them be part of his show and kind of like hanging out and everything like that. And hey, man, like that that's what I would do,
Yeah,
you know.
that's really cool.
But yeah, and then you mentioned San Diego, like in Southern California. I'm in Los Angeles. Eric, one of the other founders of Zoop, is in San Diego. So between San Diego and WonderCon, that's in Anaheim, um, there's another little show called Torpedo Con that kind of happens in Los Angeles. You have LA Comic Con. I'm trying to think of all the other ones. Like San Diego sort of has a special edition as well. And I think that there's some other small San Diego show that's not as big, but still like they'll always have like a handful of big names. But I mean, like for me, like you said, a lot of these shows are about the networking, kind of like I'm always in Artist Alley or I'm talking to publishers and things like that. But for you, Chance, like as a fan, what's kind of your go-to when you hit these shows?
Yeah, I mean, I don't network it the same way that you might. It's not like a financial investment for me, but like I definitely have taken away a lot of experiences. Even if it's just like acquaintances that I've gained, or any other kind of like connection that I've made from a convention. And I think that kind of the beauty of conventions like that is that you're going to be surrounded by like-minded people in sort of a niche scene, and everybody is very open and comfortable about who they are and what interests them, whether that be a comic book convention or a tattoo convention or any kind of artistic thing, like I've you know,
You
made.
go to tattoo conventions?
Yeah, and there's a lot around in Denver. There's like 3 a year, I think. And then around the Denver area, there's several as well. So
And I've very frequently recently, because I was at Emerald City Comic Con in Seattle, and I think that they had a couple of booths that were doing tattoos on the show
yeah,
floor.
yeah, I've seen that as well. Yeah.
That's so crazy to me to go to a Comic Con and then you're just going to be like in a tattoo chair for like hours.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's fun, the novelty of it though, but yeah.
Sure, sure. Um,
But
I was gonna say one other thing, and I totally forgot because the tattoo thing was pretty cool. How many tattoos do you have, Chance?
I don't know. They're all kind of blended together at this point, so it's kind of hard to say. But I mean, like,
You lost count.
I could probably think of like the number of times I've been tattooed, but like actual like individual tattoos, I wouldn't know. But yeah, like even with that, like when people are asking, like, hey, who's a good artist? Who's your artist? Who do you go to? And I'm like, go to a tattoo show, because like it's just going to be a one-stop shop. Like tons of great artists are going to be there. There's kind of like a vetting process. They're not just going to let anybody in there, and you can get a
Sure.
really good diverse look at everybody's art. And it's not only like to get tattooed or to find an artist, it's just another like kind of like Artist Alley. It's like just an art show. It's like going
Yeah.
to a gallery and looking at people do their work and their portfolios and that sort of thing. So that again is that networking thing where it's like, do I want to drive from shop to shop and spend days and days looking for an artist, or go online, or can I just go to this big
Yeah.
convention,
That's
somebody
kind of
there?
cool. Do you have any comic related tattoos?
It's a good question. I really want to actually, yeah, these kind of actually, I have one that I started on my left arm. I can't tell you the name of the artist, but he's really popular in Artist Alley in both Denver and Salt Lake. I always see him. I can't think of his name right now, but that's what I got started on my left arm, is one of his pieces.
Just
Um,
his artwork, or he's the
his
tattooist as well?
work, yeah. And his work isn't comic related, but it still is popular amongst that crowd. But
Gotcha.
it happens before Robbins, so I like to say that it's before Dick Grayson, Damian Wayne.
Oh, I like
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
That's cool, man.
So
You know, we have a friend of Zoop that is a comic book artist as well as a tattoo artist. Brian Level, who did the Brothers James with us almost 2 years ago now. He's a tattoo artist as well, and I mean, I don't know that he does a lot of comic tattoos, but I know that like he's drawn some Batman comics, and he also tattoos people on their
yeah,
flesh. So
I mean, there's a lot of overlap, I think, in that crowd. So
yeah, no, he's a big horror guy, so I think he does like a lot of horror based
yeah,
tattoos for people and stuff like that.
cool. That's awesome.
Um, yeah, but I mean, like in terms of, uh, like, are you buying stuff at conventions? Are you just like a browser and a shopper? Oh,
Yeah,
wait, hold, before we get to that, sorry, I
yeah,
realized what I was gonna say now. My bad. So I had like sort of like a little gap in my comics fandom, which I think a lot of people do. Like you go, you have it in like high school, and then
right.
maybe you go to college and you get out of it, and maybe some of your adult years. But when I got back into it, was when Valiant Comics came back onto the scene. And if you're not familiar with Valiant Comics, they were big in the '90s. Um, Great stories, and then they kind of like they were acquired by Acclaim, the video game company, and then basically like dropped. Um, the properties went into auction. Somebody, came and essentially bought all the licenses and relaunched Valiant Comics. And when that happened, or when it was leading up to that happening, basically, I found like Valiant on Twitter, and then there was this whole Valiant fans message board, and I met a whole bunch of people on Valiant fans message board. But then, come like San Diego Comic Con, like I met up with these guys in real life, and we there was a poker game every year, up until COVID happened. But yeah, every night, every San Diego Comic Con, one of the nights would be the Valiant fans
That's
poker game. So
cool.
that was like convention adjacent, but the convention is like what brought us all together. It's like all the people in Southern California, people would fly in from like Florida, New York, Maine, like all these different places. People were flying in for San Diego, but then one of those nights was always going to be the poker game that brought like 20 of us together.
That's
you know
funny.
and the common bond was Valiant Comics, like.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. That's
And
great.
that's, yeah, I mean, like, I've met and seen like some cool celebrities and stuff like that, but the thing to me that was always like the best was just like hanging out with my friends, playing cards, getting a
Hmm.
little getting a little and
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
like
Yeah.
the convention just like bringing everybody together.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. Well, and like I said, it's just, I mean, it's such a niche sort of, I don't know, especially like when you find yourself in a particular panel like that, just kind of narrows down your
Yeah.
your people even more. So yeah.
And so what do you go for? Because I know like these shows, a lot of the shows now have gone from sort of more comic based conventions to more like pop culture type
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I would say like I always start with just, I don't know, like I look at the program for the weekend and I schedule everything around the panels. And for me, like
I do the
really,
same. I got spreadsheets and everything.
yeah, like
Cool,
my
cool.
well, even now with the apps too, you can like get alarms and everything, notifications to tell you like when the next panel is going to be happening, so you don't have to like keep track of it as much. But like I think kind of like you and Eric as well, like I'm really interested in social issues and that sort of thing. So I really like going to stuff that talks about like psychology of different comic related subjects, or psychology of fandoms and that sort of thing, like the social issue related topics within pop culture, even in that broader sense. So that's kind of what I'm more interested in, or just kind of um like the origin of this particular character, or I don't know, like that to me has the most appeal. Or I mean, even I guess it was a couple months ago. I went to a small convention in my hometown where I grew up. Was a small town, and they had one. It was being creative with ADD, and I have ADD, so I'm like,
Ooh.
oh, like I'm gonna go to this, and like I was saying, it's like I was with my fellow ADD people, and we were very but it was just like sitting through that panel, like it was such a happy accident because he's talking about like all the kind of symptoms that come along with having ADD and like the sort of roadblocks that people like that come up against. And the whole time I'm like, oh my God, like, is that why I do that? And I do that. And so it was like very refreshing that like I didn't know these things. And like I was just learning this about myself after all these years. And I wouldn't have known that if I had not gone to that panel that day. So yeah,
Do
it
you
just
spend?
kind of go ahead.
I was gonna make a terrible joke about like the ADD panel, people walking out and stuff, but
Yeah, no, everybody was, saw squirrels running around and had to, everybody was very distracted and couldn't keep the conversation on track. So,
are panels a big thing for you when you go to shows? Like you spend a lot of time in panel rooms, or are you more on the floor?
yeah, so like if like I was saying, I kind of schedule everything around a panel, and if I'm not at a panel, like I'll just kind of I'll start with Artist Alley, and then after that, I just kind of wander the like the vendor hall. Um, so yeah, I mean, and that kind of takes up most of the weekend.
What
Take
do
your
you,
time and
do you have any types of things that you like to purchase? Art prints, comics, toys, like
yeah, I
movie
usually
posters?
I usually come away with at least a couple of prints. And I just like I really don't even have anywhere to put them, but like I just I like supporting the artist and having you know the their work and um but as far as like purchasing things, yeah, it was probably about a month ago I went to a horror convention right downtown in Denver, and yeah, I mean that was kind of a little bit of everything because there were the panelists were really cool. It was pretty like up close and personal, so you got to you know it wasn't super crowded, so you got to meet a lot of Kane Hodder and Jason, a lot of these people and small panels and stuff like that. So yeah,
Do you prefer like these smaller shows, or do you like the big like Denver and Salt Lake kind
I
of
think
type
I think
things?
that both kind of have their pluses.
Sure.
I think smaller ones are just a little bit more intimate, um, but obviously the bigger ones, there's more of a variety of things to do and see. So yeah,
Gotcha. Do you
yeah.
ever line up for celebrities and get like
No,
signatures or photos? Yeah.
not really. No, I think maybe once or twice, but it wasn't even like that big of a, it wouldn't be like Jason Momoa or anything like that. That's never
Gotcha.
never been a big appeal to me. So
I used to. I mean, like one thing I used to do that I used to love, but I kind of had to stop because there's been a change in the industry. Sort of. I used to like, um, and I guess this is before I became a quote unquote professional. But I used to get quickie sketches. Like a sketch from an artist that took them like 30 seconds to do or whatever. But now, and rightfully so, I'm not begrudging any artist, but they all charge now. They used to be free, you
Mhm.
know, for
Right.
those quickie ones. Like if you wanted something a little bit more in depth, you have to pay for it. But I was always content just to have something like from the artist that I liked. And now everything costs so much money. Like you could walk through Artist Alley, see all these artists that you love, and you could spend hundreds, thousands of dollars now on like sketches and commissions and things like that. I just don't have like that kind of
Right.
discretionary budget to just like go around, getting art from all these guys. But
Yeah.
that's something that I used to love doing.
I mean, I guess that's kind of indicative of this kind of culture now, though, is that the demand is there for it. So
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like people pay for, if people weren't paying it, then they wouldn't be able to charge it. So yeah,
yeah,
and like I said, I do not begrudge any artist like trying to make a living off their art. I'm taking up their time. I totally understand it. It's just, yeah, I can't do it anymore. But I have a nice collection, of maybe, I don't know, like 50, 75 sort of just like quickie sketches on like comic backing boards or
yeah,
something like that.
right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you
Um,
if you got 2 minutes, I'll tell you one quick little anecdote.
please.
Just kind of to go back what you were saying about like Valiant Comics and bringing people together like that. When I like the first like little friend from school that I can remember having, it was all the way in preschool, and I think I was like 4 or 5, and Ninja Turtles had really just gotten popular, and that's still like my favorite thing.
Oh,
And
nice.
I had like this little friend that we would get Ninja Turtles and then bring him to show and tell and like have Ninja Turtle themed birthday parties and that sort of thing. And then I don't think I ever saw him again except for like I think it was like I don't know when I was like 20, I was a cashier somewhere and he happened to be there, for like a couple weeks. Never saw him again after that. But I was at this small like retro toy convention maybe 6 weeks, 2 months ago. And I'm at this table that's all just old Ninja Turtle stuff, and I'm just going through it. And there's one other person standing right next to me, also going through the stuff. And I look over, and it's that guy. So it's like
Oh, man.
34 years later, we're like we find each other looking at Ninja Turtles like by accident, standing right next to each other. So
Did you guys reconnect, like exchange phone
yeah,
numbers and stuff?
yeah, yeah. I looked them up online, and so it was just
That's
kind of
amazing, man.
it was just just really fortuitous that it happened that way. So.
I didn't know you were such a big Ninja Turtles guy. Eric used to work at IDW. He worked with Kevin Eastman on some stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's probably my favorite fandom for sure.
Nice, man. I feel what they have more stuff coming out now, right? Like more. There's another
Like,
movie coming, I think.
yeah,
Or
it's produced by Seth Rogen.
oh, right, yeah, yeah. Oh, the animated one. That's right. Yeah, yeah. I thought it looked great.
Yeah, the animation looks really cool. It's similar to
Spider Verse.
Spider Verse. Yeah.
Yeah, which
Hmm.
I haven't seen yet. I know I'm a bad fanboy. I haven't seen that one yet. There was another trailer though that dropped like yesterday for this graphic novel that's going to be I think it's a movie, not a series. It's going to be a movie on Netflix called Nimona,
Okay.
Nimona. If you haven't seen the trailer, go check it out. It looks really incredible.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is it just like an independent or like a first, or is it like an established character or?
I mean, it's a graphic novel series, I
Oh, is it?
think.
Okay.
Yeah, I forget who published it, but it wasn't like Image or Boom or anything like that. I think it was like Scholastic or First Second.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I think yeah, it's sort of like a cult graphic novel hit, but this movie or series, whatever it is, it's on Netflix, but it looked really really good.
Cool. That's awesome.
Um, the other thing before we kind of dip out of here, I got to figure out again how to share my screen.
You want me to just share the Zoop campaign page?
I'm gonna go. Let me see. Let me see if I could make that happen.
There it is.
All right, excellent. So we do have. Oh man, where did my screen just disappeared? All right. All right, so just going through before we kind of get out of here, we do have campaigns that are running right now, some that are ending rather soon. We have 30 hours left on 5,500 miles of comics. I mean, I love the artwork here. There's these are 250-page graphic novel, just kind of slice of life type stuff, cartoons of being a parent, having kids, being in a family. I mean, some pretty fun, really clever stuff that I can't wait to get my hands on as a parent myself. I mean, yeah, I'm excited about that one. 2 days left for the Jorge Molina campaign, over 20 grand right now. It's funny, I keep seeing sometimes like, um, you know, a remarked book is available again, or a full body commission or a headshot becomes available again, and then like 2 minutes later it's gone. So people are keeping an eye on this. They're buying up all that original art. Yeah, over 21 grand, 2 days left. So hopefully we see a little bit more of a spike, these final 2 days. Um, Sereno, this one's cooking too. We're almost at 10 grand. I think that's unlocking another stretch goal. Let me see if I could find that stretch goal. There we go. We don't necessarily have an image for it, but if we get to 10 grand, 15 more pages of a new Sereno story, by Luciano Vecchio, and he's another one, man. He's done a bunch of the remarks. I think he sold a bunch of sketches. Original art is all claimed. Yeah, I mean, all his full figure sketches are gone. 3 pages of original art are gone. So there's a little bit more than a week left on this one. This is a gorgeous looking book. There's going to be some embellishments to the book itself. Yeah, here we go. Another one, just another Swamp Song. These guys need a little bit of love. Truly indie, independent comic creators. Get on that one. Show some love, show some support. And another one, Comics from the Kitchen. Sorry, I'm just going through all these so quick. We have a bunch that are live right now, but Comics from the Kitchen, these are the guys. Some kids from Comic Book Yeti, I know, are in on this. This is an anthology, so a bunch of different creators that you'd be helping support. Let's get this book made. This is a book of comics and recipes. So if you're a bit of a foodie, you like to cook, plus you like comics, this one's definitely for you. Go support, please. This next one, this is an interesting one for us. Trailer Park Warlock. So this was a webtoon. So this is not a campaign for comics. This is actually for a tarot card deck, but the tarot card deck kind of plays into the series that's on webtoon. So yeah, Matt has a bunch of supporters, subscribers, people who are checking out his work on webtoon, and it looks like they're turning out big for this one. $2,500 goal. We're almost over, we're over $7,200 with over 2 weeks left. So I think Matt's pretty pleased with this campaign. Next up, Stardust the Super Wizard. Gorgeous cover by Mike Allred. Actually, if you're watching this, the original cover art is for sale. So if you're a Mike Allred fan and you want to get your hands on a Mike Allred original cover, it's here. Come grab it. Otherwise, this is a bunch of contributors to this anthology, spearheaded by Van Jensen. Let's go through a quick list here. Francesco Francavilla, Pete Woods, Ron Marr, Xander Cannon, Cecil Castellucci, actor Jay Baruchel, Jesse Larnigan, Jeff Parker, Tom Fowler, and dozens of others. Awesome book. You can get a whole bunch of remarks, signatures, whatever it is that you're looking for with this. This is definitely one of our favorite ones that's come through in a while. Next up, La Borinqueña, and I really hope I'm saying that correctly because I do not have a great Spanish accent whatsoever. Had a pretty lofty goal, I'm not going to lie, $15,000. He fully funded in the first 4 days. We're pushing 20 grand right now, over 3 weeks left. This is a hardcover omnibus. So over 300 pages in a hardcover. You got artwork by George Perez in here. Jorge Molina is doing a variant cover for the issue number 1. So a reprint of issue number 1 with a variant cover by Jorge Molina. Carlos Pacheco, who recently passed away. There's a variant cover for La Borinqueña number 2 as well. So many other add-ons that you could get. One of the ones that we should highlight because a portion of this campaign is actually going to charity. So you could buy a copy and then donate a copy to a library in Puerto Rico, which is pretty cool. And then, of course, like I said, a percentage of the sales of this one are going to a charity. Edgardo Miranda Rodriguez, who's running this, heads up a nonprofit that benefits multiple different things in Puerto Rico. And we have 2
libraries, wasn't he, last week? Say
it again.
You were talking a lot about public libraries last week.
Yeah. So, like I said, there's a reward tier. Let me see if we can get back there. There's a reward tier here. You could buy 2 copies. 1 copy will ship to you. 1 copy will get shipped to a library in Puerto Rico, so that people who maybe don't have the means or ways to buy this book will have access to it. So it looks like we have a couple of good Samaritans already. So a couple of books will be going to libraries in Puerto Rico, which is very cool. All right, one more second. A couple more that just launched today. So, some of these need some love. We need you guys to come out and support. Oh, that's cool. Since I refreshed, we got a couple more backers. But yeah, a little bit of a big goal. We could get there. We just need the community to turn out. So this is another great comic from an indie creator. And also, I think that they have some very cool add-ons here. You can get a Peruvian plushie, a couple different kinds here actually. One's a llama, one's a bull, a ceramic bull statue. Dude, there's some really cool add-ons here. If you're into getting those types of things on top of your comic, come check this one out. A never-ending adventure. And finally, the last one that just launched today as well is called Event Horizon. I'm going to refresh the page, but I mean, yeah, we need a little bit of love, you guys. Day one, come on out, support indie comics. You got a bunch of different stuff that you can get. Hey now, look at this. There is one $1,000 bundle here. Physical copy of Event Horizon #1. The new Era Comics hat, hoodies, t-shirts, signed poster, sticker set, limited edition art print, personal thank you video, and an opportunity to have a unique character added. Wow. I feel like we should put that one a little bit higher. Have a unique character added to the Event Horizon universe. That's very cool. So if you ever wanted to have a character in comics, but maybe you're not a writer, maybe you're not the artist, this is a great way to do that and contribute to a new up-and-coming universe. So that's what we have going on right now live on Zoop. All of these guys would probably really love your support. Come check it out, zoop.gg. Yeah, I don't know, Chance, I don't know if I ever asked you this. Are you on social media? Do you have handles that you want to get out there? Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, anything like that?
Just personal ones. You can look me up if you want. If you have any burning questions for me or about anything, yeah, you can just look up Chance Johnson.
Chance, not the rapper.
There's not, right? No, not Chance the rapper. Chance the Johnson.
Heyo. And as always, we're at We Are Zoop on everywhere: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, on YouTube. Yeah, hit us up there if you want to email us anything. It's hello@wearezoop.com. We thank you for checking out this week's episode and just chilling with us for a little bit, talking about conventions, checking out what's the latest on the website. Please support indie comics. Thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you next time.
All right.